As far as I know, there's only one way to kill a werewolf. I'm talking about silver bullet. Let's go ahead and get into this one. What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Futchy's Horror Movies and More. And on today's review, I'm talking about 1985's Silver Bullet, starring Corey Haim, Gary Busey, and Everett McGill. This movie is based off of a Stephen King novel, The Cycle of the Werewolf, ladies and gentlemen. I love this movie a lot. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. Grew up watching this movie. It came out 3 years before I was born, but once I got old enough to watch horror movies, Silver Bullet was my go-to for werewolf films. And honestly, I would say Silver Bullet is my favorite werewolf movie. I know there's plenty of choices out there. American Werewolf in London, The Howling, the original Wolfman. It's just something about Silver Bullet hits for me that no other werewolf movie does. The opening narration of this movie, you know, talking about on the next full moon. It's very creepy. The atmosphere that they show, the music. You know, this movie's about to be an intense werewolf movie, and I think it was. I really did enjoy this movie a lot. The story pretty much focuses on Marty, Jane, and Uncle Red. Marty is played by Corey Haim, and Uncle Red was played by the awesome Gary Busey. Wasn't too crazy and wacky in this one. As he went along his career, he got a little bit more zany and crazy in his roles, but this one he was kind of just starting to be a little crazy. But he was really, the chemistry between them two in this movie was incredible. And then his sister Jane started off like a normal brother-sister relationship, you know. The brothers playing pranks on her, you know, messing with her. But she was the one that always had to take care of him because Marty was in a wheelchair and he did need help, and occasionally it needed to be looked after, so that was kind of her burden to Marty was Jane's burden, and that's what she had to, pretty much her life was making sure Marty was okay. Like I said, Marty was a paraplegic. Coincidentally enough, his wheelchair in this movie is called the Silver Bullet, so multiple meanings in this movie for the word Silver Bullet. It isn't just a normal wheelchair though. It's a gas-powered wheelchair that goes pretty damn fast. He had an old one in the beginning of the movie, but his Uncle Red went ahead throughout this movie. He built him a new Silver Bullet that was faster. You could definitely tell there was a big difference. He's flying down the highway in that bad boy. Uncle Red in this movie, he's like, you know, that typical cool uncle, always having a good time with his nephew. He's an alcoholic. He's divorced like 3 times, so he's not the best with relationships, and Marty's mother is afraid that Marty sees Uncle Red being a drunk and a gambler and terrible with wives and stuff, that Marty's going to feed off of that and go down that same dark path. But Uncle Red knows that Marty is more than just a paraplegic. He's more than just the wheelchair guy. He always sticks up for Marty. He thinks that his mom is always about, put him in the tub, get him out of the tub. Put him in the bed, get back in. Like, his mother thinks Marty's helpless, but Uncle Red knows that Marty's way more than that and believes in him 100%. And that's the kind of uncle you want backing you up in your corner. Even though he's made some questionable choices, he's still there for you and will help you throughout. Another character in this movie is Reverend Lowe. He's played by Everett McGill, the creepy preacher dude. Even if you didn't know he was the werewolf going into this, you definitely thought he would have been because he's so damn creepy. Every time he's around, his presence, he gives off this creepy aura about him that you're just questioning, could that be the werewolf? opening of this movie, I mean, starts off with a kill. Right off the bat. A drunk guy working gets his head cut off clean. Town thinks it's an accident, though, because he was the town drunk. It happened on the railroad tracks. Just think, hey, it was an accident. No evidence of foul play. Next person. The murders continue to happen. Next person. This lady's pregnant with some dude's baby who doesn't want no part of it, so she's trying to commit suicide. She knows it's evil and that you're gonna go to hell, but she doesn't care. She tries to do it anyway. Werewolf goes up there before she can kill herself, and the werewolf does her job for her. So the werewolf takes her out. You just see the aftermath, blood all over the place. Her mother, I'm assuming it's her mother, goes up screaming as she sees the dead body. And like I said, the musical tones in this movie are just so creepy. I really do. I give the props to the person who made the score and everything. It sounds really good, and I enjoy it. One of Marty's girlfriends from school, her dad is an alcoholic abuser. He goes out to the greenhouse and shit, thinks there's somebody out there. Freaking whole thing starts shaking and shit because the wolf's in there, busts up through the floor and freaking pulls him down. A wooden floorboard goes right through his stomach, and as the wolf continues to pull him down and kill him. So that's 3 people so far, but every one of them was technically a sinner. We got the lady who was gonna commit suicide, having the baby out of wedlock. The abusive father, the drunk. He was only taking people out who seemed to be committing sins, so that kind of pointed also in the direction of Reverend Lowe. And as you would come to find out, Reverend Lowe was the one who was committing these crimes, and he explains why he was. He figured these people were going to hell, so he killed them, making them innocent in the eyes of God. And another murder that the wolf killed, but I don't really believe it was a sin, was Marty's best friend, Brady. I don't really know. Maybe he just killed him because he was an asshole. But that one was the only one that I didn't think that had nothing to do with sin. But the wolf did take him out. This town goes on curfew. People are getting inside early, locking their doors because they're afraid for their lives that they're going to go next. But they don't know who's doing it. They just think it's a regular man that's killing these people. So the town, kind of like in Halloween 4, which didn't come out yet, so this was pre-Halloween 4, the townspeople create like a lynch mob, and Andy, no point of him in this movie except for being a dick and an asshole. He's like the leader of this mob, and they're going to go out and hunt the son of a bitch who's killing all these people. Brady's father comes in because the cop's trying to stop them from going out. Brady's father's pretty good performance in this movie. It really seems like he lost his real son in real life. You want to talk about private justice? He's like, why don't you go to the cemetery, dig up what's left of my boy? So I'm going to go have myself some private justice. He goes out with the lynch mob to try to go kill whoever's doing this. And Reverend Lowe's trying to stop him because he knows he's going to change and try to kill all these people if they go out and try to hunt him. The hunting scene of this the atmosphere is amazing. You got the fog lifting from the bottom, so nobody can see what's below them as they're walking. The creepy music, they're deep in the woods. The cinematography in this scene is pretty damn amazing, and it would be one scary ass time. I would personally not have been on this lynch mob, walking through this foggy ass woods trying to hunt something that you don't even know what you're hunting. And they knew something was there, but they couldn't see it because it was under the fog. And the wolf just comes up from underneath the fog and starts slashing the shit out of him. Beat that one guy up with a baseball bat, the Peacemaker. I don't know why wolves use baseball bats, but I thought it was hilarious. And then Andy books that shit out of there because he knows he's gonna die too. So the smart ones ran out of there once some of them started to get killed. But that whole overall scene was pretty intense, and like I said, the music just adds to it. Reverend Lowe had a dream. He was preaching to the congregation, and then all of a sudden, all people in the congregation started slowly transforming into werewolves. And they were playing the pianos and freaking spraying blood on the walls and shit. That was a creepy ass scene. I enjoyed that scene as well. All the freaking townspeople transformed, and it looks like they were going to try to kill Reverend Lowe, which is obviously what the lynch mob was trying to do. So that was a pretty intense scene, and obviously Reverend Lowe thought it was pretty intense too, because he woke up from that nightmare real damn quick. But once Marty got his new silver bullet wheelchair, you know, he takes it for a spin and whatnot. He sneaks out at night to go shoot off some fireworks Uncle Red gave him. Who shows up? Mr. Wolf. Werewolf's coming to get him. Marty's lighting that firework and points it. Hits the werewolf right in the eye. So, the last part of this movie is trying to determine who the wolf is. So he sends Janie out to, you know, go collecting cans for the can drive. Checking out everybody's eyes to make sure they got two eyes and not one, until she stumbles upon the man with only one eye, Reverend Lowe. She notices he got a patch on his eye and he got this creepy ass vibe. She books it out of there. Goes back and tells Marty, and they try to convince Uncle Red something's going on. Uncle Red, being kids, he does not believe them whatsoever. And Marty's driving around again. Here comes Reverend Lowe, trying to swerve and hit this kid in a wheelchair off a bridge and trying to run him over. Until luckily Marty sees a local farmer there, screams for him, and Reverend Lowe books it out of there. Marty understands in this movie that there's only one way to kill a werewolf. Silver bullet. So they take down their necklaces and a pendant, melt that down. The scene where the master of his craft is making the silver bullet, I like that scene a lot. I do. It shows how passionate that weapons maker is about making this. He said, "It's the best thing I've ever made."
They all agreed on one. It takes silver to kill a werewolf.
He said it's the way he's pouring the metal in, cracks it open, takes the bullet out. I just like that whole scene. So now they have the weapon that can kill this beast. So they send the parents away for the night. They wait up all night. 3 in the morning, Uncle Red's like, "I had enough. I have a familiar feeling coming over me. I'm starting to feel like a horse's ass." Because he thinks he's being played by these two, wasting his damn time staying up all night, and then the power goes out. And then they're just standing around and boom! Wolf blasts through the wall, starts beating the shit out of Uncle Red, throwing him off the walls and shit. Silver bullet goes flying, goes down the freaking heating duct. Marty got pulled out by Uncle Red's getting his ass beat. Wolf comes over to Jane, he starts squeezing her head. I think the wolf looks pretty good. I honestly do. Even when the wolf transforms, he still only has the one eye. So I thought that was pretty cool. They didn't freaking make him have 2 eyes after getting shot at one. We saw a little bit of a transformation scene. I see this movie get a little bit of hate because we don't get the full transformation. I didn't mind the transformation scene. They showed some of it. They showed what you needed to see for the most part of somebody turning into a wolf or turning back out of a wolf. I didn't mind it. I thought the wolf looked okay. It looked more like a bear, kind of, but I thought it was a pretty scary-ass wolf. They kept focusing in on the eyes to show you that they were Everett McGill's character's eyes, Reverend Lowe. So you kind of put 2 and 2 together. But, Marty finally struggles to get that bullet out of the heating duct, loads it in that gun, pulls some Halloween 2 shit, shoots him right in the other eye. And as the wolf hits the ground, he slowly begins to untransform back into Reverend Lowe as his hair kind of thins out. All his fingertips and his toe tips grow shorter. The mouth shrinks back into a normal mouth in his face. I enjoyed it. And then a funny ass line. Marty says there's something wrong with my legs. I can't walk. And he starts laughing because he couldn't walk, so it was funny. He's making a joke at that time. And Janie thought it was funny too. In Janie and Marty, that was their character arcs. They hated... Janie might have hated Marty. Marty liked to mess around. But at the end of this movie, they realized how much they do love each other. And as it ends, Marty says, "I love you, Janie." And Janie says, in the narration, says, "I love you too, Marty. Good night." That's the end of the movie. They start playing some, sentimental music. So it did have a happy ending as well. I thought it was a really good werewolf flick. It had me entertained from the start to the finish. I enjoyed almost all the characters. I enjoyed the plot. I liked everything about this movie. I don't usually like Stephen King adaptations too much, but I really do like this one a lot. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give this a 3.5 out of 5. I definitely recommend checking out Silver Bullet if you haven't. And that's all I got for Silver Bullet for this 31 Days of Myers. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll like it. Subscribe to the channel. I'll keep pumping out this mediocre content, baby. I'm not going to stop until you guys tell me to stop, alright? So hopefully I'll be seeing you in the next one. And have yourself a scary day.